It's Stout Week, and the first of the 5 stouts I'm going to be reviewing is this beer from Northern Monk. This is a Death Star Episode 2 from Tesco supermarkets. But what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Now, this week is going to be a special week. It's going to be completely different than what you usually get on this channel. Yep, 5, count them, 5 stouts I'm going to be reviewing. Now, I'm not a huge lover of stout beer, but it's the middle of December. The weather is cold, it's rainy. You know, what we need on these cold winter nights is something warming, not the sort of bright New England IPAs, you know, full of tropical flavours. No, we want chocolate. That's what we want. Caramel. We want peanut. We want honeycomb. All of those sort of flavours. And we're kicking off with a beer which I've heard so much about and I haven't been able to get until now. And I thought, right, I'm going to kick off this stout week with this one. This is a Death Star Episode 2 from Northern Monk. It is a chocolate, peanut, caramel, Imperial Stout, rocking in at 12% ABV. This was £5, which, you know, is quite expensive for a supermarket beer, but a 12% Imperial Stout is quite cheap. And looking at those ingredients, look at those flavours, I won't say ingredients, chocolate, peanut, caramel. Is this a Snickers bar in a can? Well, there's going to be quite a few chocolate bar themed beers this week. We're going to kick off with this one. I've had it out of the fridge for an hour. It's cool, but without being cold, so hopefully it's at the right temperature. Let's get it in a glass, see what it's all about. Oh, it looks already a bit lively. Let's pour it out. I mean, 12%, expecting a much thicker, gloopy, but let's see if we can get all those flavours in there. I mean, look at it. It pours like tar, basically. We've got a jet black. That is as black as you get, with a finger of sort of coffee-coloured, very sort of creamy looking tan coffee coloured head, really. Let's see what it smells like. I'm picking up a lot of the chocolate malts. Lots of sort of milk chocolate, dark chocolate. Dominated by those chocolate malts, really. I'm not really picking up anything in terms of peanut. There's an overall sweetness that you could be as the caramel. But it smells very similar to a lot of chocolate stouts, I should say. So let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Pretty smooth. Carbonation's low, which is good for a stout. Get a lot of chocolate, and you get a nice bit of warmth as well on that front end. Then you get the sweetness of caramel, and I can feel it just coating the whole of my tongue. And then just on the back end, just when you think, wait a minute, where's that? Oh, there it is, the peanut. There's a little bit of peanut on the back end there. It's a very decadent drink. It drinks like a luxurious beer. But there's no hiding that 12%. It's almost got that sort of slight warmth that you would get with a whiskey. You know, it's almost like it's chocolatey, it's nutty. I wouldn't say it's overly sweet. It's not as sweet as some sort of stouts that are like this. Then there's that sort of slight, there's that, well, I say slight, it's a big hit of warmth that sort of makes you know that this is a high ABV beer and you should be sipping it opposed to glugging it. And then there's this sort of, as you say, this nutty stuff that just comes in on the back end, that peanut sort of flavour on the back end. But there's also sort of other elements in there, licorice and, yeah, I mean, licorice, whiskey. I'm not really picking up maybe little hints of coffee. And it's funny because I've just poured a little bit more into the glass. And the head, you know, it's pretty much got the head is literally disappearing. And I just had a little tiny sip of it. And now the nut is up front. It's actually becoming more nutty as I drink it, if that makes any sort of sense. There's no doubting that this is a strong, strong beer. And you want to drink it. I mean, just having a little sip of it like that, you almost get more flavour from it. You're getting that nutty, you're getting dark chocolate, you're getting little bits of... It's considering when you read the ingredient, when you read what it says, a chocolate, peanut, caramel, Imperial Stout, you're thinking it's going to be sweet. I don't think it's that sweet, really. There is obviously there's an element of sweetness in there, but it's boozy, that the sweetness is almost drowned out by that booziness of it. And the nuttiness sort of takes away a little bit of that sweetness as well. I'm not really picking up the caramel. It's really, really strong though. I mean, I think I drink one of those. That's it. It's really heavy and decadent. It is that sort of beer that you're not going to have. Well, unless you're into your strong beers. It's not the sort of beer that you're going to have as more. Certainly, never going to have more than one of them. And I wouldn't even say I'd want to be drinking other drinks as well as that, because it tastes really boozy. And it's a 440ml can at 12%. It's the equivalent of probably having 3 pale ales really at that sort of level. And there's no hiding that ABV. It tastes strong, tastes decadent. It's got this sort of boozy spirits, that rum and whiskey and other dark spirits that I can't think of at the moment. Very, very boozy. It's boozy. And it's, a lot of these beers, sometimes they go overly sweet. And I'm picking up a little bit of the sweetness. But the booze overrides it to me. It's just, you want an Imperial Stout because you get that mouthfeel that you want. You get the flavours really big. And the big thing for me, which I hate in stouts, is a stout that's got a low ABV and it's just too fizzy, it's just too much carbonation. The big Imperial Stouts, they lose a lot of that carbonation. But it does taste a little bit like I'm drinking tar, oil and licorice, those sort of molasses, all those sort of really dark treacle. Actually, that is a flavour I'm getting a lot of. More, goes beyond the caramel into a treacle, really treacly. The nut sort of comes and goes. Sometimes you think, oh, there's a lot of nut in that flavour, and then other times, less so. The nut doesn't linger, I don't think, as much as you would expect. Is it a sort of beer that I want to drink? Probably not. I don't drink this, and I can appreciate it as a piece of, as a craft beer, can of craft beer, as a very good quality beer. But at the same time, it's too much. It's too heavy. It's too strong. It's, when I think of beers that I drink like this, like a New England or a Pale Ale, yeah, I mean, I'd drink them down before the end of the review. This one, it's heavy going, and maybe it's just I've not got used to it. I've got other stouts that are lower in ABV, so I've started off with a big hitter here. As I say, mouthfeel is good, but it's too strong. Maybe I'm just too weak. I'm a soft southerner, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for the Death Star, episode 2, the big Star Wars themed beer. And to be honest, 12% Imperial Stout, it is as dark and as evil as Darth Vader himself. So, let's go for the scores. Aroma. Well, like any good stout, it smells really good. It smells chocolatey. There's a lot of those sort of chocolatey malt, that maltiness as well. You're getting those big hits of chocolate. It's just waves of chocolate. You're not really picking up the peanut from the aroma. You're not really picking up the caramel at all, really. It's just big waves of chocolate and malt, really. But it smells still pretty damn good and very inviting. I'm giving it 14 for aroma. appearance. Well, I mean, with a stout, you expect it to be black, and that's exactly what it is, as black as you would like. I mean, you can see there is a sliver of head there, but it's like any sort of Imperial Stout usually drops its head. But it's certainly dark. There's no light getting through that, you know. So I'm giving it 8 out of 10 for appearance. Flavour-wise, well, you get the big hits of that chocolate when you first taste it. But straight away, you get the booze. You know that this is an Imperial Stout. As soon as it touches your lips, you get that warmth. It's like drinking a whiskey or a bourbon or a rum, a dark rum. It's got that real warmth about it, that real sort of, that spirit sort of taste to it. But there's a lot of chocolate going on as well. Dark chocolate. Yeah, a little bit of dark chocolate because you get that little bit of dark chocolate bitterness. Milk chocolate, I don't know if it's as much. And then there's a sort of sweetness of the caramel, but you can't just say, yeah, that tastes like caramel. There's a sweetness, and it's almost, because of it's so thick and gloopy, and the flavours are that strong, it's almost more like treacle than caramel. And then it's funny because I just had that sip, and I'm not picking up any nut there. But then another time I have a sip, a little subtleness of nuttiness, but it doesn't stay for a long time. It just sort of comes and goes, that nuttiness. The big thing is this dark chocolate bitterness, treacle, and then you're getting all that sort of, you're getting licorice as well in there, and it tastes very, very alcoholic and decadent. Sweetness, yeah, I mean, you get the sweetness from that sort of treacly flavour, but it's not quite a light sugary sweetness. It's this treacle sweetness. It's that, you can definitely tell the difference between that. So, and in terms of the mouthfeel, well, it's a 12% Imperial Stout. It's gloopy, it's thick. It doesn't have huge amount, it doesn't have any carbonation, which for a stout I don't really want, which is a good thing. So flavour-wise, flavours are all there, but they're strong and they're almost the booze overpowers a lot of those sort of chocolatey flavours. So I'm going to get 31 for flavour. And I think that's more about my personal, opinion of it. I think a lot of people that like and used to drinking Imperial Stouts, they probably would rate that higher. Value for money, well, it's a £5. It's expensive for a supermarket can of beer. But, I've had smaller cans of stouts last Christmas that were like 7 or 8 quid. And Imperial Stouts are expensive. You can be paying 8, 9, 10 quid for them because at 12%, you don't need to have as many of them. So I think that's pretty good value for money for a 12%. I don't actually know if you get many stouts or any sort of, many craft beers in supermarkets that are more than 12%. I have actually got I've got the other one here, the North Star one, which is the other one I'll be doing probably tomorrow. And this is only 9%, even though it's also an Imperial Stout. So 12% for a £5. I think it's pretty good value. I'm going to get an 8 out of 10 for value. And my overall experience, well, personally for me, it's too boozy. It's, I want the Imperial Stoutness of it with the gloopy, thick, nice, creamy like mouthfeel, but it's not creamy. It's like tar. It's like treacle. It's like black treacle in a glass, really, with a little spit of nuts and a little bit of sort of chocolatey flavour in there as well. So I'm going to get 11 for overall experience. But we top those scores up, we still get a recommended beer, 72 out of 100. So, Death Star, episode 2. Everyone's saying that this is the best stout that you can buy in supermarkets. They're probably right, but I think for me, I just still can't get into stouts. I do like the nitro stouts. I like the mouthfeel of that. But for me, this is just too boozy. It's too strong, and I'm just not up for the job. So, sorry about that, guys. But a 12% stout, but it's still 72. So if you like Imperial Stouts and you're in the supermarket, you should pick it up because I'm sure you'll love it. If you don't like stouts, I don't think this is going to change your mind to say, oh yeah, I'm a stout lover now. It's just too boozy, and it's just, the flavours are just too strong, and that's that dark chocolate bitterness. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. This is the first of the stouts. I'm a little bit nervous now. I've got 4 more stouts to drink. This one is going to probably take me the rest of the night to sip along, and then I'll probably fall asleep in my chair. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the fact that we've moved away from a New England IPA today to bring you a beer, and also a supermarket beer at that, because there hasn't been that many new supermarket beers. Not certainly a good wave of them. I think coming up to Christmas, it's a time when you want decent new supermarket beers to try, but I don't think there's that many. I think the new ones came out a good 3 or 4 months ago. So I've wattled on enough, so I'm going to leave it there. Maybe this beer is already having an effect on me and it makes me, I don't know, a bit doolally. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. And until the next one, which will also be a stout, keep on rocking.